Hi everyone, it's Latin Roses. If you enjoy Law of Attraction stories, and if you're also a big fan of Dan the Radio Style on YouTube, you're going to enjoy this video. So keep watching. Hi everyone, it's Latin Roses. Today I'm so excited. Today I have a really big time YouTuber.
Where?
I think he's so popular is because he talks about the techniques of manifesting and the law of attraction, and he breaks it down in a way that a lot of people today can understand it. And here today from the Dan Radio Style YouTube channel is Dan.
Well,
Hello.
how that is like, wow, that's an awesome intro. Thank you very, very much. Hi, it's nice to meet all you guys. Hello, thank you for having me on your channel and letting me be a part of your family. It's really, really, really awesome. Thank you. I love this law of attraction stuff. It's just sort of, to be honest, it tied into the whole idea of me taking ownership of my life to some degree and understanding that I think what we focus on, and I've demonstrated it myself, but what we focus on, it seems to draw though more of that kind of stuff to us. And it was just one of those wow aha moments for me, and really taking ownership of our own thoughts and our own lives was just something fun for me. So this is a great avenue.
Oh, great. Dan, I shared with you earlier, when I discovered your channel, you talk about how people can manifest what they want into their life, including their special person, their SP, which I find is extremely fascinating. But the number one question, or maybe a complaint that I get on my channel is, you can manifest, but I can't. I tried to think about what I want. I spent time meditating and working on it, but nothing seems to happen. So, how would you address that if someone were to complain to you or ask you about that?
So I recently did do a video on the beginnings, right? The simple beginnings of manifesting. And I think that's one of the best places to really start. Actually, it's funny, we bring this up, so I've got my notes in front of me. But yeah, here's the show right here, oddly. One of the fun things that you can get into is some of the more beginner basic things to manifest. And really, this show specifically spoke of toys. It was one of Neville Goddard's, the chapter, I think. I didn't have the chapter written down, but it was kind of manifesting things. Things are a lot easier up front at first because it doesn't require another person's opinion. It doesn't require somebody to feel a certain way about it, or have to like you, or have to want to talk to you, or feel comfortable talk, right? Like there's a whole lot of little mental jumps that we have to make in the manifesting
Like
process.
small, right? Start
Sorry?
small. Let's start small.
I think so. Yeah, without a doubt, that's a very awesome way to put it. But also even simple, because starting small to a lot of people, if they're trying to manifest a person, might be, well, trying to get a text message from them, right? It's like, well, do they have your phone number? Well, no. Okay. Again, mental leaps, right? It can happen. Don't get me wrong, but let's start smaller than that, maybe. So things I think are often a good thing. I did like beach balls, a bottle of water, maybe finding money. There was parking places is one. Like, yeah, you live up, I think up, probably there's a lot of cars around you, right? So sometimes finding a parking place at the grocery store or whatever is a
Yeah,
challenge, right?
do that. Yeah.
So that was a good one for me. Maybe an outfit you like at a discount. Like I know sometimes people like to, get their handbags maybe at an outlet, or maybe it's on sale and it's like, even reduced further. And you're like, I found a Coach purse for 20 bucks, right? And it's awesome. So whatever, right? So there's a lot of fun little manifestations that we can use that are easier. And a lot of times you can do these things just thinking about it once, seeing it really clearly and letting it go. And then oddly, a scenario happens. And you do this one time, two times, three times, four times, and eventually you're like, whoa, I think there might be something to this. And for me, that was kind of how it played out. And then it starts to expand in people and affecting events, and like, oh man, you can have a lot of fun with this stuff. Just to, just scraping the surface, if you will.
Dan, I heard you talk about in your channel, and I think it's really fascinating and maybe controversial,
Oh
like
no.
how you can manifest a specific person, an SP, and just what about like if somebody's already taken and maybe married? What are your thoughts on that?
So I see things coming from a couple angles, right? And ultimately, a lot of people, this is a really large question, so I'm going to do my best. a lot of people see everyone as us pushed out. I kind of have an altered view on that, and I'll try to qualify that if I can. But for the most part, other people have their own say and choices in life, and that's just period. Some people can fight me on that, and that's fine. I mean, we can have the debate, but ultimately, I don't believe us pushed out means they are physically you in like a different dimension and time and what, it's like, come on, no, 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 no. They are their own soul. They're here on their own journey. They are, so for me to affect them is, here's the way I see it. I see it as influence. And I know there's some people that feel there's control. I've done videos on how you cannot control another. So there's, again, another difference in feelings about this. A lot of people, some people, not a lot, some people want to make somebody do something. And that's kind of how they see it in their minds. Mm-hmm. And that's a very different and I think malaligned or poorly aligned direction to go. What really happens is you influence others. So when you're projecting something to somebody, if it's not a benefit to them, they're not going to receive it. And what Goddard says is it reflects back unto you. And I kind of think that's true. I think the universe plays it that way. Like if you're sending stuff out and it's not good, like the thing we used to say when we were in elementary school, I am rubber and you're glue, and everything bounces off me and sticks to you, right? Like if I'm sending out yucky, then it's probably going to bounce off of them. They're not going to be like, I don't want this. No. And it comes back to you. So in the case of someone that's married, in the case of someone that's taken, if they're happy in their relationship, yeah, it ain't going to work. And I mean, I've said that before to people, like, I mean, 2 examples, and I don't mean to be controversial, but it kind of is one. But I'm in a relationship right now. So does that mean anybody in my audience could think of me and say, well, I want to manifest Dan Radio style and that's going to happen for sure? And it's like, I'm in a relationship. No, sorry. I'm not open to that. Right. So that's going to bounce back. Or even let's be a little more controversial. And I've been in theater my whole life. So I no disrespect to anybody, but just as an example, if there's a gay man out there that's in my audience that has a crush on me, does that mean I have to become gay? And it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm straight. And that is just how I am. And that's not going to change. So again, it's one of those things where there's places you can't force your desire on somebody. There will be times where the answer is no. But when you take it from an influence standpoint and you actually start to get to the place where you're sending love and kindness and desires to be with somebody, and they're actually open to that idea, they start to, like, you walk by them in the office place and all of a sudden they look differently at you, right? Like it's that kind of thing. It's subtle at first, but it starts to lead to this like conversation and next to the water cooler. And all of a sudden you're finding each other's name out, or you're introducing yourself for the first time when you've been noticing them from afar. It's that gentle steps towards, and I think it's beautiful, and it's kind of how life works in my opinion. It's just we're all just dancing, and it's just poetry in motion, and it's yeah. I feel like I talk too much. I'm so sorry.
When you talk, Dan Radio style. Okay. What is one of the smallest things you ever manifested, and what is one of the biggest things you ever manifested?
Wow. Well, smallest I would say for sure is the beach ball. It's my favorite example. It was really my first experimental. I don't remember what book it was, and I apologize. It was probably Richard Bach, to be honest with you. But anyway, it was eons ago, and I remember after reading it, I'm like, so you just kind of like got to hold it in your mind, and when you do that, it like shows up. I'm like, all right, let's give this a go. And it wasn't Law of Attraction where I learned it. It wasn't The Secret. Like it was way before that. So I did it, and it was a beach ball, and I just imagined it. I didn't imagine it in my hands. I didn't imagine the smell. Like I wasn't close to it. And I think those are important additions to add. I was really early on for me, and I was just playing with it, but I imagined a beach ball. And literally a day or two later, I'm driving down the road going to work, and off in the gutter is a deflated beach ball. Like we have street sweepers and stuff that come through where I live, man. There's stuff in the gutter doesn't stay there long. That's all I'm saying. So again, I mean, I've heard people say all sorts of things. Whatever the case is, I saw my beach ball, and it was at that point where I started playing with it, and it became traffic signals. It literally became parking places. It became bumping into people. It was just, it was something that I really, really started to play with and found amazing. So the beach ball was the smallest and certainly cool. The biggest, I feel like for me, it was because I had to hop past belief factors was when I got I was a overnight DJ at a 100,000 watt classic rock radio station in Knoxville, Tennessee for 3 years. I was a full-time personality on the biggest classic rock station in Market 69 of the United States. Market 69, folks. That's not like it's awesome, but yeah, I made it to Market 69. Like, and I was paid horribly. It was 6 days a week. I voice tracked the seventh, so on the air it sounded like I was on 7 days a week. Like, it was a lot of work, but it was awesome. And a lot of people said, "You can't do that. That's no one does that. That's not possible." And I'm like, "Watch." And so I've told a lot of people, I don't accept can't, never, could. I don't accept that's impossible. Those are things that they don't register to me. Like, a lot of people are like, well, what if it's impossible? I'm like, I don't think anything is. So right off the bat, you're asking me a question that I don't entertain. Like, there's a difference, you know?
I
So it's
think
one of those things where I know I could, sorry, what?
you did a video that you talked about exactly that, where you're not the kind of person, and I think there's different kinds of people. People will hear it's impossible and believe it, and then there's others who'll hear it's impossible. Well, I'm going to find a way to make it
You,
happen.
you put your hands on your hips and you're like, watch, right? Like, yeah, I'm just defiance. I mean, I've been defiant my whole life. No, I don't believe anyone can tell me crap like that. And I'm like, please, no, uh-uh. That's not true. And I don't entertain it for a second. I don't care what your what if is. You can believe that. And I guess that is, you kind of bring up a good point, I think. And maybe you should talk about how do beliefs shape us? What are your thoughts on that? Let me interview you for a second, because that's a big difference for a lot of people, isn't it?
Yeah. So I asked you, like, what was the smallest thing that you ever manifested? What was the biggest thing you ever manifested? And for me, the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that I thought was so miraculous that kind of inspired me to start my YouTube channel was I manifested $500 around Christmas time, and I really needed it. I mean, the government had shut down for 4 weeks, and I depleted my savings. All kinds of things were going wrong. The roof needed to be repaired. And I had been watching all these videos on the law of attraction, and I thought to myself, I could just borrow the money for Christmas from my parents and my friends, but if I really believe in the law of attraction, and I do, I can make this happen. So I did the mistake that a lot of people do. You look at your surrounding circumstances and you think it can only come to you a certain way. So I thought, well, somebody owes me money somewhere, and I'm going to get a check for $500 because that was the amount I decided that I needed. And it's going to come to me in a form of a check, and it's going to come into my mailbox by the end of the week. And this was on a Monday. And so I just made up my mind that's what's going to happen. That's how I was going to get my $500 that I needed to buy the Christmas dinner and to get my kids some presents. So Monday, I come home from work, I check the mailbox, there's nothing there, and I said, oh, that's okay. I have until Friday. So the same thing on Tuesday, there was nothing in my mailbox. So on Wednesday, I get a call from my local church, and they said, we need the money for the retreat that your kids are going to be going to. And I explained that I can't pay right now because of my situation with the government shutdown. And they said, that's fine, we'll waive the fees. Your kids can still go on the retreat. And I was like, okay, that's good. And then they texted me later and they said, you can't say no, because I know I was a proud single mom. And they said, we adopted your family for Christmas this year. I need to know your kids' sizes, what they're interested in. So I was kind of a little desperate at that point. I wasn't too proud to beg, so I gladly gave them all the information. And then the next day, on Thursday, I was starting to lose faith a little bit. And I started watching more of those YouTube law of attraction videos to keep my thoughts high so I wouldn't succumb to thinking this isn't going to work, that it was crazy, it was ridiculous. And the church texted me and said, we're sorry, we can't do as much as we thought we could for your family, so it's just going to be a few movie tickets and gift cards for your kids. And I have to admit, I was a little disappointed, but I was still grateful that my kids were going to have something in their stockings. So on Friday, the church sends me a text message. Don't forget to pick up all your stuff for your kids by 6 p.m. That's when we close. And I'm sorry again, it's just going to be very few things. And I said, okay. So after work, I go to the church and I go into the office, and there, along the wall, there's just like a bunch of boxes with families' names on them. And I see my family's name. And I see there's three brown bags, each with one of my kids' names on it. And I go to pick up the box, and it's heavy. So I feel like, oh my gosh, they tricked me. They gave my kids more than just some movie tickets and some gift cards. So I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, and I want to cry, but I don't want to cry and break down in front of everybody in the office. So I just told them thank you. It means a lot. And so I was going back out, and the lady stopped me in the office, and she said, when you're done putting that in your car box, the box in your car, come back inside that other box in the walls for you. And so I turned around, I looked at this box with my name on it, and it had a bag full like wrapping paper. And I thought to myself, oh, that's nice. They gave me wrapping paper for whatever I needed for whatever they gave my kids. So I get to the car, I put the box into my trunk, and I look inside the bags because nothing's wrapped. And I see that they gave my daughter a Monster High doll, and that's what she had wanted. And I
Oh,
get
no
to
way.
give my kids footballs and different toys. So I'm feeling overwhelmed, and it's gripping me. And I'm trying not to cry because I still have to go back into the office and get the final box. So I managed to go in there
Hey, when
and
that happens too. Yeah.
picked up the box. I told the lady, so thank you so much. It means so much to my family. And as soon as I got in the car, I was just bawling. I was just crying, happy tears of joy. And so I get to my mailbox, I open it up, and there's nothing in there. And I don't even care. I'm just so happy. I'm so grateful. I don't even care. So once I get everything down from the trunk, I open up what they gave my kids. They left all the receipts there in case I needed to return anything. And I looked at this envelope. They did give my kids movie tickets and gift cards. And they gave my each kid $100, and they gave me a gift card for a grocery store so I could buy Christmas dinner. So I didn't have to go shopping. Everything was there, including stocking stuffers and tags and bows. But when I added everything up, all the receipts, wouldn't you know it, it added up to $500. I was blown away. I was crying 3 days straight of happy tears. And I
I,
thought that
I
was so
I think
moving.
that's an amazing example of a principle that I think a lot of people forget, like you were talking about, and it really illustrates it. It's that a lot of times we look to manifest money because we think we want more money, but ultimately the way you manifest is you're imagining why you need more money. And a
Yeah.
lot of times just paying bills isn't necessarily it. You want to see expansion in your life. You want to look to see about changing things. Maybe your car needs to be new. Maybe you should move to a new place. Like whatever your expansion should be, you want to be looking towards that expansion. You want to be looking towards how can I create a place in my life where more income and wealth is going to be needed, right? And then
Right.
money tends to flow in different ways. People might do work for you for a discount or maybe able to get you things at a discount, or suddenly you meet somebody that helps in some way, helps open some door. Like a lot of things are worth money that aren't necessarily money. And we limit ourselves a lot by being so specific about how it should come to us when really it's a direction we're trying to go on, a something that we're trying to create. That's what it is. And so we should focus more from that standpoint and worry and not worry about what I call the middle ground. Don't mess with the middle ground, or don't F with the middle ground, as I think my show I kind of say, but it really is. Don't mess with that part. Let that work itself out. Just hold the end result in your mind and kind of live from that, as they say. And it tends to work out better.
So Dan, what inspired you to start your YouTube channel?
Ha, radio. I mean, I used to do radio. I was getting into voiceover and wanted to. So it was an excuse to buy a camera and an excuse to buy a microphone. And it was just something, I mean, really, I was like, well, just do it. I kind of thought it would honestly would go better than it did. I struggled for a long time before it really started to take off. And I really think for a large extent, it was me just finding myself and who I was. I mean, originally I was a different name on my channel, and then I kind of progressed into Dan Radio Style. And I used to play music, but that kind of doesn't go over real well in the copyright world. So I found that I was resisting the flow too much with all that. So I just gave it up as much as it hurt. But it really was just a way for me to keep doing this radio thing, keep talking, keep trying to be a personality. I love performing, always have. I don't know, it was one of those things, and it's actually just turned out it's opened up doors for me outside of YouTube and other things like, but even professionally, it helped me shift my role significantly to now where I lead a lot of meetings, and a lot of them are off the cuff, and it's being able to just kind of nail stuff on the fly, and it's been super helpful. So again, life is something I see that's constantly evolving and moving in a fun direction, and I love the path I've been on, and this is just one more step in that direction, but kind of just natural progression for me is kind of how it played out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew you were a DJ before, and I know you play music on your channel a little bit. So yeah,
Used to.
on your channel. And I found that when I discovered your channel, I studied a lot of law of attraction teachers like, Wayne Dyer and Catherine Ponder and of course Neville Goddard. But I've never honestly heard anybody break it down, especially Neville Goddard's teachings, the way you do. And your videos are changing, life changing, and
I,
they're very inspirational. That's why I was so excited to have you on today.
I appreciate that. I mean, again, it's so it's not something I ever get used to hearing. It's the reason I do the videos for the most part. Like, this is my way to reach out to the world. Again, I never saw that this was going to grow like it has, and I really feel like I'm on kind of a cool upward path. There's certainly, giants well past me that I look to, but yeah, it's just fun. I really appreciate it. I thank you. Sweet.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to see these wonderful videos too, you can find them on YouTube at the Dan Radio Style YouTube channel. And Dan, thank you so much for being on the Latin Roses TV channel today.
It was a pleasure and an honor. Thank you for having me.
All right. I really do enjoy Dan's videos. I find them so inspirational, and I bet you will too, and I bet you will find them life-changing for you. So run, don't walk, go check out his channel, Dan Radio Style. It was really a pleasure to interview him today. So if you like this video, hit like and share it in your social media. And if you want to stay in touch, subscribe. As always, I wish you love, peace, and joy.